All we found was just a couple of chicken bones and a whole bunch of newspaper. So we moved on to the next one. Same story there. Corn cobs and potato peels. By George, that was a kind of lean alley. We had investigated a dozen barrels before we found the real treasure, a bunch of fish heads wrapped in newspaper. Oh, the kids loved those fish heads. They jumped right in the middle of them, gobbled them down, and I stood back and watched. And kind of remembered myself at that age, when all at once a man stepped into the alley and guess he was dumping trash or something. He looked up and down the alley, you might say, we'd left a mess. I mean, when you get caught up in the garbage patrol, you don't stop to think about the mess you've made. The man dropped his trash basket and came running towards us, yelling and waving his arms. Zaya, get out of here! Go on! I sounded the retreat, and we lit a shuck out of there and went down the alley as fast as we could go. We went several blocks and hid in the hedgerow, and the kids were out of breath and all excited. Gosh, that was so much fun, said Roscoe, and the others agreed. I was scared, said Barbara. I thought that old man would catch us. Yeah, said April. He looked mean. Uncle Hank, said Spot, I like those fish heads. And playing in the garbage is fun, said Barbara. I smiled and nodded my head. You see, kids, if we hadn't gone on a garbage patrol, you never would have learned all of this. As your moms told you many times, education is very important. And here are the dogs. I stepped out on the hedge and scouted the area to make sure the coast was clear. And then I gave the password, stinkeroo, and then that was the only word the kids needed. They formed a line and we went marching home. I figured they'd had enough education for one day. We were marching down the alley, maybe 3 blocks from home, when we passed a yard with a big cedar fence around it. And sitting on top of the fence was a big, fat, yellow cat. My ears shot up and my lip curled, and all the sheer instinct was there. I mean, my instincts about cats are pretty sharp. I glared at her as we went trooping by, just waiting for her to make some kind of a smart aleck remark. You know my position on cats. I don't like them. I don't go out of my way to make trouble with a cat, but anytime I find one that's shopping around for a fight, I can usually be talked into it. Well, this cat looked dumber than most, but she must have had a little bit of sense, because she didn't say a word as we went past. She just stared at us. I suppose that was the end of it. But when we got past her, little Roscoe came trotting up to the front of the column. He had a worried expression on his face. Uncle Hank, that cat said something when we went past. Hold it! Halt! The column came to a halt. What was that again? The cat said something? What exactly did that cat say? She said your mama wears combat boots. What does that mean, Uncle Hank? What that means, young feller, is that we're fixing to have a demonstration of violence and bloodshed. About face, follow me, and we marched back to teach some manners to a certain lard-tailed yellow cat. Ooh, wonder what's going to happen next time. You'll have to tune in and see. Bye.